back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys! So I am here today to do my November wrap-up, which I'm very excited about. Slightly late, I'm afraid, because I have been mega busy recently. I have been working 7 days a week for the last, I don't even know how long, probably like a month or so now. I'm working 3 days at a publisher and 4 days at a supermarket, because that's how my life is working out right now. But major news, I have a job starting in January, which I'm so excited about, and it's at a publisher, and I'm going to officially become a publishing assistant, which is what I've been working towards with all of my temp jobs for the last, I don't know, 5-6 months, something like that. So I'm really, really happy, and thank you to everyone who was like right there beside me saying I could do it, because you're right, I finally did it, and I finally have a job starting in January. So very soon, very exciting. But basically it means that I've been very busy for the last month or two, and I'm going to continue to be busy up to December. That doesn't mean the reading has stopped, it just means a lot of it has become audiobooks, because that's easy to do whilst I commute to and from places, and that's also like a lot better for me to do in bits and pieces. I have read some physical books, so I'll show you them, but a few of the books I read this month ended up being audiobooks. So you might remember for my TBR I said I was going to read non-fiction books for Non-Fiction November, and I was really successful with Non-Fiction November. Not only did I have a lot of really, really great books, I loved so many of them, but I also got through a big chunk of books. Like, I really got a decent amount. Considering how busy I've been, I've read a lot, so I'm very, very happy about that. So I'm going to go from my least favourite up to my very favourite, but as always I'll have some reviews coming very soon for a lot of these books, so if you want to know more, check out those reviews, because that's where I'll go into the detail. My least favourite was actually one I listened to on audio, and I downloaded the Tor.com collection audiobooks, which you can get season 1 and season 2 online at the moment for 1 credit, which is a pretty good deal because they're like 30 hours or something each. And basically it means all of the books published in, or all of the novellas rather, published in that year for Tor.com are in an audiobook, and they're narrated by different narrators. So the first one that I listened to was Sorcerer of the Wild Deeps. That just happened to be the first story on the narration, and I have to say this was a weird one for me because I wanted to really like it. It had a lot of potential, but the magic and the ideas were never quite pulled as far as I wanted them to be. So in the end I gave it a 2.5. It wasn't a bad story, but it just didn't go the distance. I didn't see it really go to the point I wanted it to go to. The next book I read is the Magical Space Pussycats pick of the month. This one was our read for November. To tie in with Non-Fiction November, we decided to read a non-fiction book. It's called How to Suppress Women's Writing by Joanna Russ. As you can see, I have tabbed a lot of this book, mainly because we were going to be talking about it, and also because there were lots of ideas within this that did definitely resonate and were really interesting and thought-provoking. However, this was quite an academic book, which definitely felt like a harder read for me. It didn't feel as enjoyable. I mean, it's not really meant to be an enjoyable read, it's meant to be one that makes you think, so you have to be in the mood to read it. I did enjoy bits of it, and I think our discussion of this book really helped me clarify ideas. Definitely keep an eye on the channel for that to go up, or on iTunes if you want to download it to your phone or whatever, so look out for it. It will be up very soon if not already, and I'll try and link it once it's up. The next one I listened to as an audiobook, and this is So You've Been Publicly Shamed, which is by Jon Ronson. I had never read any of his books before, and I'd heard that he was a journalist and that was it, so I was recommended this one by Max on Twitter, and I definitely enjoyed it. It's all about public shaming in internet spaces such as Twitter. It relates back to some of the historical shamings that we used to have, and it also talks about real life situations that people have been through. I do think I will check out some more of his books in the future because his writing style was very, very easy. I gave that one a 3.5 out of 5 stars overall. The next one I read was also an audiobook, and that was Hidden Figures. I had heard about this book on Katie from Katie Loves to Read channel. She was raving about this. She said it was really, really great, and it was the untold story of the black women who helped to launch rockets into space, and it sounded fascinating, and I definitely enjoyed it. It was something a little bit different. Like, I hadn't really read much historical stuff this month, and it was nice to do that and read about some real historical facts and figures. But the problem I had with this was that it slightly focused on a few too many people, I felt, and I didn't really get into the details as much as I wanted to. However, what was said in the book I found fascinating, and I really enjoyed it overall. 3.5 stars. The next book I read got a 4 stars from me, and that is Dragons, The Myths, Legends and Lore, which is by Doug Niles. Was so blown away by this. I thought it was going to be like a fun little book to flick through. I didn't really consider it to be an actual book that I would sit and read and really enjoy, but I did, and I found it fascinating. It's all about the different legends from around the world. It covers various different places that I'd never heard legends from before, such as Asia and the Middle East and various different parts of the world that I don't have much prior knowledge of, so I found it fascinating and I gave it 4 stars. The next one was also an audiobook for me, and this was my first ever Mary Roach, which I'm really happy I've now read one of her books, and this was Stiff. I definitely didn't really know what I was getting into with this. I was a little bit hesitant to read her stuff because I thought it might be a little bit too gory. It's about dead people, and she talks about how the bodies of people who have died have been used in science, and it was absolutely fascinating, kind of gross, and really, really cool all at once. Definitely an author I would love to try more from, and I will be trying more from, and definitely a subject I never thought about but now know a fair bit about and really enjoyed learning about, surprisingly. So fantastic book, 4 stars from me. Another one I listened to on audiobook, and another one that is kind of long overdue, is Everyday Sexism by Laura Bates. I have had this on my TBR ever since I heard about it, and I watched her do a TED Talk sort of talking about some of the ideas in this book. She started this platform and she got absolutely loads of responses from people about things that had happened to them day to day that were sexist, and it just spiraled into a crazy awesome platform for supporting each other, for sharing stories, for understanding that you're not on your own and other things are happening to other people and everyone can help each other to stop sexism. It's a fantastic read, a really easy read as well. Definitely one I'd recommend a lot to people, so I gave that 4 stars as well, and again the audiobook is great. The next one I read is actually not non-fiction. This is poetry, and it's called Let Them Eat Chaos by Kate Tempest. It was my first kind of poetry review on this channel. I'd not really done that before, and I definitely enjoyed reading this. I think the way she wrote the poem with different formatting and with kind of breaks in the sentences, it made it work really well to be read aloud, so that is what I did. I read it aloud, and I would definitely recommend this. I gave it 4 stars, which for poetry, which is not something I normally read, very, very good. Very happy that I read this. The next one I read is also a fantastic one. This is The Secret Loves of Geek Girls, which is by Hope Nicholson and various other people. Hope Nicholson is the editor. Loads of people have contributed to this. I think if you like fandom of any kind or geeky stuff, you'll probably find something or someone to relate to in this. As you can see, I have tabbed it to pieces because there's so many things I liked about this. It's told in various different formats. Some of it's anecdotal, some of it's fictional, but it's all based in reality, and it's all about the secret loves that these girls or women have had over their lives and how they've coped with loss, how they've coped with a new relationship, how they've kind of discovered things about themselves through relationships. It's really, really great, and I would certainly recommend it. Some of it's told in comic strip, and it's just a variety. I mean, I'm not going to love everything in a collection like this, but overall, very solid collection, and I gave it 4 stars. The next one I read is Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson. This is a collection of all of his short works in one place. I've done a full review of this, so I'll link that if you want to know more about each of the individual stories and whether or not you can read them without being spoiled for other series, because that's where I go into depth on this collection. But I really enjoyed it, as I usually do with Sanderson, so I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next one I read is another one that's kind of historical because it is a a kind of account of 3 women. The writer is one of the women, and then we follow her mother and her grandmother. And basically she lived in Mao's China. Her grandma and her mother and she lived in Mao's China. So her grandmother went through foot binding and more traditional ideas, and then her mother was dealing with the changeover into Mao's regime and the lifestyle and the kind of differences that Mao brought to China, and then she dealt with the aftermath, like what happened while she was growing up and Mao was in power, and then what happened when Mao kind of lost that a little bit and she moved away into England. It's a really emotional, raw telling of their lives. It's very, very easy to connect to these 3 women because they're going through struggles that are so sad, and it was beautiful, and I can't recommend it more highly if you want to know anything about China but also get a great story, because that is what this is. So I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars as well. The next one I read is a fiction book. It's like the only fiction book I read this month, and it's called Only Ever Yours, and it's by Louise O'Neill. I picked this one up because I'd heard great things from Eleanor and a couple of other people who'd read it, and I really enjoyed it. I would describe it as a YA dystopian, fantastically fun, very easy to get into, kind of really interesting as well because it deals a lot with ideas about beauty and ideas about expectation, sexuality, gender, what's normal and what's not. It's a world where women are created for men. The whole way through I was turning the pages. I stayed up really late till like 3 a.m. I think to finish this because I was so into it. So it's definitely a page turner, and I would really recommend this if you're looking for like a good dystopian read with some actually deep, kind of cool talking points as well. So definitely one to recommend. 4.5 stars for this one. Now on to my 5-star reads for the month, which I actually had quite a few 5-star reads, amazingly. Very happy about that. The first one is Beyond Belief. This is a book all about Scientology, and I've done a full review talking about this, so I'll link that if you want to know more. I gave it 5 stars, so obviously one to pick up if you have any interest in sort of cults or religions or anything like that. The next one I read is a different tone entirely. This is The Year of Living Danishly, Uncovering the Secrets of the World's Happiest Country, and this is written by Helen Russell. I loved this. It was so much better than I expected it to be. I kind of went into this not really knowing if it was going to be my thing or not, so I got the audiobook to listen to rather than buying the actual book, but as soon as I finished it I bought the book anyway because I wanted to own a copy. I would recommend this hugely. I'm also currently reading her new book, which is called Leap Year, and that one comes out on the 15th of December, I believe, so fairly soon, and I'm really loving that one as well. The next book I read is Escape, which is by Carolyn Jessup. This book is emotional. It made me definitely emotional. I was raging at the way that some of the women are treated in this religion. It is a look at the Church of Latter-day Saints. Basically in this religion it's a belief that wives are there to please their husbands, and then their husbands, depending on how nice the wife is to them, can choose to take them into heaven with them. Carolyn has to marry this guy that is like a lot older than her and already has other wives. She gets bullied by the people who she is forced to coexist and cohabit with. She has her own kids who grow up as part of this and they get bullied, and it's just nasty. Fantastic book. 5 stars again from me. And the final book that I finished in the month of November is Just Mercy, which is by Bryan Stevenson. This one was gifted to me from Mercedes for my birthday. She said it was amazing, so I knew I would probably like this, and I did. I listened to the audiobook and I read from this at the same time. This follows a real-life case in America that Bryan Stevenson was the lawyer for, Walter McMillan, who was incorrectly, falsely convicted of a murder he never committed, and there was no possible way he could have committed it. But he was essentially framed and set up by the police and various people in his neighbourhood. It's a fascinating case, but obviously it's also a real-life case, and this man was in jail and on death row for something he could not have done. So we follow Bryan Stevenson's journey as he tries to help Water, and along the way he meets other clients and sees their cases and talks about them. It's absolutely fascinating. If you like The Making of a Murderer series on TV, or if you like Serial, the podcast, any of those things, I'm sure you're going to love this as well. It was fascinating, and yeah, I really respect anyone who does something like as hard as this, because this is a job not for the faint-hearted or people who are easily put off. It is a brutal one, and it's also a very important one, because I don't believe anyone who's innocent should have to suffer for someone else's crime. 5 stars. That, my friends, is everything I read in November, which I am quite happy with the page count on that. I'm definitely feeling good. I think at the moment I'm 2 books away from having read 300 in 2016, which is kind of crazy, so I'm definitely going to hit that target. Come on now, I can do it. I will be back with you very soon to tell you about my books for December that I'm planning. My plan is to read some good old epic fantasy, because I haven't done that in a while and I want to get back into it alongside some other things. So look out for my TBR coming very soon, and thank you all for watching. Bye!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.